Part 27.16, Surah An-Naml, the ants, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. We continue our profound journey through Surah An-Naml, the ants, moving deeper into the eschatological landscape that defines the ultimate reality of existence. The previous segment concluded with a powerful rhetorical reminder, urging contemplation on the constant, benevolent order of the night and day as clear, undeniable signs for those whose Qalb possesses belief. This consistent, rhythmic sukun tranquility and illumination was presented as Allah's persistent, gentle invitation to truth. Yet for those who willfully chose to remain spiritually blind and deny the certainty of the promise, the discourse now transitions with stunning intensity to the absolute, cataclysmic shattering of that very cosmic order. The gentle cycle of night and day is about to be annihilated by the sudden, terrifying sound that announces the irreversible advent of the day of resurrection. We move from the subtle, observable proofs of the dunya to the terrifying, universal reality of the Akhirah, in for short. Majestic verses 2:78790 that define the end of all terrestrial things and the beginning of eternal recompense. This is the moment when all human pride, plotting, denial are silenced by the irresistible, overwhelming power Qudra of Allah. Amān, Quran, An-Naml, the ants, chapter 27, verse 87-90. The trumpet, the mountains, and the grand reckoning. Amān, Quran, An-Naml, the ants, chapter 27, verse 87. And on the day when the trumpet will be blown, those who are in the heavens and those who are in the earth will faint, except whom Allah wills. All will come to him in utter submission. This verse unleashes the majestic terror of the moment that marks the absolute end of the cosmos, the sounding of the trumpet AR. In the grand tradition of Il-m, supported by prophetic narrations, this refers to the first of the two great blasts, the blast of Al-Faza, the terror, or As-Sake, the swoon, thunderbolt. The sheer terrifying sound wave of this cosmic pronouncement is so overwhelming, so violently disruptive to the fabric of reality, that its effect is universal. Those who are in the heavens and those who are in the earth will faint. The word seek implies a death-like swoon or utter destruction, signifying the obliteration of all conscious, independent life. The spiritual and physical intensity of the sound dismantles the very structures of creation that sustain life, causing everything that possesses life and will to collapse into non-existence. This is the moment when the temporary nature of all creation is exposed and the illusion of autonomy is definitively shattered. The profound exception to this universal collapse carries immense spiritual weight. Except whom Allah wills, this small, majestic phrase signifies a chosen few angels, souls, or perhaps a select company of purified individuals, by the special decree of Allah's protective grace, are spared the terror of the cosmic shock. From a Sufi perspective, these are the souls who have already, in life, achieved a state of fana annihilation of the self in the love and presence of Allah. Their Qalb is so steeped in Tawheed and sustained by Baqa subsistence in the divine, that the shock of annihilation, which terrifies the self-aware ego, holds no power over them. Their rest sukun on earth, which was discussed in the preceding verse 27-86, was not merely physical sleep, but a conscious, spiritual withdrawal into the divine presence, preparing them for this very moment. Their reality is anchored in the eternal, not the temporal, and thus they remain untouched by the temporal's collapse. Following the initial, devastating blast is the period of universal quiescence, a cosmic pause before the second blast, the blast of Al-Qiyamah, the standing up. When the second blast sounds, all souls, in a state of utter humility, are recalled to life for the ultimate confrontation. The verse concludes with the state of the resurrected, and all will come to him in utter submission. The Arabic term dekhern signifies forced, submissive humility, and abject lowliness. All the former arrogance, the plotting, the vain boastings, and the spiritual blindness of the deniers are gone. They are resurrected not as the proud individuals they were, but as utterly subdued subjects, stripped of all worldly dignity, power, or authority. They come running, eyes cast down, in a state of terror and complete helplessness before the majesty of Allah. This is the final, undeniable proof that all power and dominion belong exclusively to Allah, ArRahman and ArRaheem, but now revealed in his capacity as the just and ultimate sovereign Allelic. Qalb, Amān, Quran, An-Naml, the ants. Chapter 27, verse 88. And you see the mountains, which you think are firm. But they will pass away like the passing of the clouds. This is the artistry of Allah, who perfected all things. Verily, He is aware of what you do. This verse offers a breathtaking, powerful image of the physical dissolution of the earth, focusing on the colossal, seemingly unshakable mountains. The address is personal, directed to the observer, and you see the mountains, which you think are firm. In the worldview of the pre-Islamic Arabs, and indeed in the common human perception, mountains were the epitome of stability, the Peg's audit of the earth, representing permanence and solidity. The entire worldly concept of stability is anchored to the colossal, inert mass of the mountains. This worldly assumption is now exposed as an illusion. The divine description shatters this sensory conviction, but they will pass away like the passing of the clouds. This is not a slow disintegration. It is a profound, rapid, and almost ethereal transformation. The mountains, once the heaviest, firmest objects on earth, now move with the swiftness and lightness of clouds. This imagery is crucial, as it symbolizes the absolute ease with which Allah can dismantle the most enduring parts of His creation. The very definition of permanence is inverted. The massive, dark rock becomes light, airy, and transient dust. This cosmic upheaval should have served as a sign that the Creator is unconstrained by the physical laws He Himself instituted. The entire structure of the dunya is dissolved, demonstrating that all material reality is contingent and utterly dependent on Allah's will. The verse culminates in an emphatic declaration of divine perfection and meticulous control. This is the artistry of Allah, who perfected all things. The word kun, translated here as artistry or making, carries a deeper meaning of perfect, flawless, and purposeful manufacturing or craftsmanship. The dissolution of the mountains is not chaos, but the final, perfect act of a creator who has mastered and perfected the beginning and the end of all things, Qalb and Il-m. Just as the mountains were perfectly placed and formed, they are now perfectly removed. This ultimate act of power is immediately linked to the ultimate act of knowledge. Verily, He is aware of what you do. The awareness Khabīr is comprehensive and absolute. Allah is aware of the grand collapse of the cosmos, and simultaneously, He is intimately aware of the smallest, most secret deed performed by every individual mukallaf accountable person on the earth. The realization of the terrifying dissolution of the physical world thus serves to anchor the truth of absolute, perfect accountability for the spiritual and ethical deeds performed therein. Qalb, Amān, Quran, An-Naml, the ants. Chapter 27, verse 89. Those who come with good shall have better than it, and they shall be safe from the great terror of that day. This verse provides the profound, sweet contrast to the universal terror and cosmic collapse described immediately before. It demarcates the saved group. Those who come with good shall have better than it. The good referred to here was Ḥasanah, is the righteous deed. The pure act performed for the sake of Allah, imbued with sincere tawheed. It encompasses not just ritual worship, but the ethical beauty and spiritual sincerity of one's entire life, the amna trust upheld in the Qalb and manifested in outward actions. The promise is not just a reward equal to the deed, but better than it, a gracious, manifold increase of recompense, a multiplication of blessings that reflects the immense generosity of Allah, ArRahman and ArRaheem. This better reward is paradise itself, the infinite bliss that vastly exceeds the temporal, finite good deed. The ultimate reward, however, is not just the material blessing of paradise, but the spiritual state achieved in that moment, and they shall be safe from the great terror of that day. This great terror, Faza. Akbar refers specifically to the second blast of the trumpet, the blast of Al-Qiyamah, the shock of the resurrection, and all the subsequent horrors of the gathering and the preliminary stages of judgment. The saved are granted amned security from this ultimate fear. For the Sufi, the security is the external manifestation of the inner peace sukun they cultivated in the dunya, because they live their lives in complete spiritual surrender, al-m, fearing only Allah's displeasure and striving for His proximity curb. The great external terror has no avenue to penetrate their heart. Their inner tranquility shields them from the chaos, making their passing into the Akira a serene transition rather than a violent confrontation. They are the ones whose deeds, anchored in ilm and sincere niyya intention, provide the perfect, luminous shield against the destructive forces of the final hour. Kanzel, Amān, Quran, An-Naml, the ants. Chapter 27, verse 90. And those who come with evil their faces shall be thrown into the fire. You are not being recompensed, except for what you used to do. In sharp, uncompromising contrast to the security and light granted to the righteous, this verse delivers the fate of the deniers and the transgressors. And those who come with evil their faces shall be thrown into the fire. The evil Sayyi'ah here is the cumulative result of their profound wrong ilm, their denial without ilm, their arrogance, and their relentless pursuit of base desires Hab. The focus on the faces being thrown into the fire is particularly powerful. The face is the seat of dignity, the locus of human identity, and the chief instrument of interaction and expression in the dunya. To be thrown into the fire face first is the ultimate public humiliation and the most intense form of punishment. This terrifying reversal symbolizes the destruction of the very pride and ego that motivated their disbelief and denial. The faces that were lifted in arrogance and turned away from the truth are now forcibly submerged into the eternal consequence of their actions. The final, absolute word of justice is delivered as a definitive statement. You are not being recompensed except for what you used to do. This phrase establishes the perfect, precise, and utterly just nature of the divine reckoning. There is no injustice, no oppression, and no arbitrariness. Their eternal fate is not based on an angry outburst of Allah, but is the exact, inevitable, and proportionate consequence of their own free-willed actions, their chosen Sayyi'ah. The punishment is a precise mirroring of their former life. They lived their lives as if the truth was a falsehood to be scorned, and thus their recompense is the ultimate falsehood and scorn. They lived to feed their base desires, and their consequence is the absolute intensity of consumption by the fire. This divine justice is the manifestation of Allah's truth, confirming that every human being is accountable for the intellectual and spiritual choices made with their God-given ilm and qalb. This principle of exactitude and perfect accountability closes this terrifying sequence of verses, bringing the focus back to the core moral responsibility of every soul before the irresistible power Qudra that will one day dissolve the mountains and silence all creation. The only true stability, therefore, lies not in the mountains or the earth, but in the sincerity of one's tawheed. Hadith. These verses vividly describe the absolute safety and security granted to the righteous amid the universal terror of the resurrection, 27-89. This spiritual immunity is directly linked to the purity of one's actions and the sincerity of one's inner faith Qalb. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught, "On the day of resurrection, I shall be standing before the gate of paradise. There will come a man who will ask for the gate to be opened. I will ask him, 'Who are you?' He will say, 'I am a man whom Allah ordered to do good and forbade to do evil.' I will say, 'Welcome. I was ordered to open the gate only for you.'" Abridged from Al-Mujam al-Asad of At-Tabarani Hadith, number 2888, graded as Hasan. This hadith beautifully explicates the essence of good Ḥasanah, that guarantees Amā to man is defined not by his worldly title or lineage, but by the two pillars of sincere practice, actively doing good ma'arf and completely avoiding evil munkar. Reflecting the ultimate goal of the believer as a steward of divine will, the man's identity is entirely wrapped up in his obedience to the ethical and spiritual command of Allah. His actions, being perfectly aligned with divine order, become his key to entering the highest station. This spiritual identity, forged in the sincere pursuit of Ḥasanah, is the precise reason he is safe from the great terror of that day. For the Qalb that feared only Allah in life finds only security in his presence in the Akhirah. The hadith confirms that the reward is indeed better than the deed, as the simple acts of striving in dunya culminate in an eternal, personalized welcome into the highest bliss. Let us now supplicate, drawing from the profound lessons of these verses, asking Allah to grant us a deeper understanding and to guide our every step. O Allah, the one whose artistry perfectly orders the cosmos, yet whose single command can turn the mountains into passing clouds. Grant our Qalb the spiritual fortitude to remain among those who are safe from the great terror Faza Akbar of the day of gathering. When the trumpet is blown, include us by your infinite mercy among those whom you shield from the cosmic swoon. Allow us to come to you with only sincere good wasana, multiplied many times over by your boundless generosity, and preserve us from the humiliation and profound wrong alm of those whose faces shall be thrown into the fire. Make our submission complete, our ilm sincere, and our actions a true testament to your majestic names. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ilm. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth. And may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, ArRahman and ArRaheem. Amīn.